guys, it's Heather. Today I am making a storytime video on the time that I rode in a cop car. One thing before I begin my story, I noticed while Fran and I were uploading the half-gram dab video that I had reached 1,000 subscribers, and although that is not a very large number, it's still a small milestone, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting me. It's really motivating to see all the positive feedback and that you guys are so far enjoying the content that I've been putting out. So I'm just really excited to keep growing. So before I begin my story on the time that I rode in a cop car, I am going to load a bowl. So I'm using my Special K right now. So I will link his Instagram in the description below. I think I'm going to start linking the glass blower of who the piece I'm using in each video in the description, just because I think I have some cool pieces by some artists who do some really awesome work. So you guys should definitely go check it out because it's really rad. You know, it probably would have made sense to load the bowl. So I am smoking some purple kush right now. I only have small nugs left that are honestly not even worth showing. Otherwise I would totally try to. Oh shit. So I'm just gonna grind it up real quick because ground up bowls, man, they the way to go. I'm gonna take a hit real low. So, the reason that I have ridden in a cop car. It all begins one day, second semester of my junior year. The first 2.5 years of high school, I was a really good student. I didn't skip, I followed the rules, and I got really good grades. That all changed. Now, I don't know exactly which reason. It's probably a combination of all of them, but I started working. I took several AP classes and then also just had a lot of other rigorous classes. That mixed with I had a lot of falling out with friends that year who were in my classes, as well as I felt really attacked by one of the teachers. Between all of those reasons, I kind of just started skipping school and not trying very hard and just kind of having a fuck this attitude. It all began one day when I decided that I didn't want to go to my first period class because I hated that teacher. He made me feel like shit in front of the entire class, and I wasn't feeling it. It's not a fun feeling. That was bothering me. Me and my boyfriend at the time, where we were skipping, we were at this field sort of near my house, smoking in my car. Now the field that we were at was frequently used by dog walkers and just people who lived in the neighborhood, but it was also frequently visited by homeless people and drug addicts and people like that. So it had a lot of trash. It wasn't like a nice park area. It was just a random kind of sketchy field. We took a couple dabs and we smoked a couple bowls. It was definitely hotboxed. It was definitely hotboxed. I was actually having him take a video of me because, you know, just been wanting videos of myself smoking for years, I guess. And as he's taking the video of me, I hear a knock on my window. And it's that very recognizable tap tap that makes your heart sink. And I see just from the chest down, the officer in his vest holding it. And I roll my window down, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but basically it was along the lines of, "What are you doing?" I wasn't gonna lie to him, obviously. There's literally smoke pouring out into his face. He asked me what school I went to, like why I wasn't there, all these other, like, you know, what kind of questions the cops would ask. And he walks back to his car to do whatever, and we're just sitting there, and I'm like, fuck, this is shitty. And I forgot to mention we had the jar. It was like one of the larger mason jars, half full of bud, just sitting on my dash. I was 16. We all make mistakes when we're 16. He comes back and he tells us to get out of the car, so we do, because we're not going to disobey the officer, because we're obviously caught doing something wrong. And he tells us that he's going to take us to the school, but he's not going to charge us, which I was relieved about that. He did have to make a report for the bud that was sitting on the dash, and he did need a name for it, but luckily my boyfriend volunteered, so that took a weight off my shoulder. Where was I? Do y'all remember where I was? He told me that he's gonna call my mom and tell her, and I was like, that's fantastic. Of course I was thinking that in my head. I didn't want to give any sass to the officer because that's just not the type of person that I am. So that's actually how my mom found out that I smoked, was because an officer called her and told her, so that's very lovely. And there's a lady officer, because there's actually 2 cops who came, because we're just super violent teenagers who are gonna, you know, threaten the lives of the police. Before he goes and calls my mom, he tells us that he's gonna take us to the school and let them deal with punishing us however they see fits, but that he couldn't let us drive there because it was a liability issue for him for obvious reasons, which I understood that. He told us we weren't a threat to him, so that we didn't have to be handcuffed, which was nice because I definitely didn't want to have to be handcuffed because that would have been nerve-wracking. So he goes and he makes the calls, and the lady officer's talking to us, and she searches through our bags and she pats us down, and we like obviously don't have anything on us. She's like looking through, she's like, oh yep, pencils, papers, school supplies. I'm like, yeah, I don't have any weapons. She puts our stuff in the trunk. She was like, you know, we wouldn't be here if someone didn't have called. And I was like, someone called? So I started looking at the row of houses that was on the other side of the street that the field was right there. And I see this damn bitch standing in the window just staring at us. And I was like, this bitch, she has the nerve. I low-key wanted to egg her house. I did not end up doing that. I really wanted to for a while. And then he puts us in the back of his cop car and we drive to school. And so that's the reason that I have rode in a cop car. Luckily I wasn't arrested, because that would have been bad for me, but would have made a really interesting story time video. I'm gonna take a hit real quick because a bitch wants to get stoned. Oh, bitch disgust. I'm gonna little bowl real quick. Take a little hit. Take a little hit. Don't take a little hit with me. Orange juice. One thing that I noticed about riding in the car was it rode in the most unusual and unique way I've ever felt. It like almost felt like it was floating, not on the wheels. It was like actually just like suspended on springs. I don't know if that makes sense. If any of you have ridden in a cop car, let me know if you know what I'm talking about, because it's so interesting. He took us to the school, walked us in. I was glad that it wasn't during passing time, so I didn't have to be seen walking with the officer through the lobby. He tells the people what happened. They take us into this back room and we wait for people to come back. They tell me that I'm going to be suspended, which I assumed. I wasn't really butthurt over that because that just meant that I didn't have to go to school for 2 days. Later I went and got bubble tea. That's the reason that I had to ride in a cop car. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful environment.